I opened my eyes and found myself back at 18. In the shabby, yellowed classroom. Someone was using me as a bet. I think for just $20. You can touch Ji Seong. Who wants to try? They whispered and snickered. Finally deciding. Zhou Ling'an. You go. Zhou Ling'an said. Sure. I'll go. I lay on the desk and closed my eyes, waiting for Zhou Ling'an to walk up to me. Knock. 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 Zhou Ling'an tapped on my desk. I pretended to have just been woken up and looked up. What's up? Zhou Ling'an said. Got time after school? I need to talk to you about something. I took a careful look at him. Zhou Ling'an acted calm and collected, pretending not to care, looking especially serious. I remained composed and replied. Yeah, all right. Wait for me after school. With that, he turned around coolly and walked back to his seat. Soon, muffled laughter and teasing came from behind. Without turning around, I knew exactly what expressions they were making. Humph. A bunch of idiots. I lay back down on the desk. I didn't know what joke fate was playing. Making me reborn at 18. 18. I was starving. So hungry that I could only keep drinking water. During the lunch break, others were genuinely sleepy and resting. But I was forced to sleep because of hunger. Yet I couldn't fall asleep. So I could hear the boys whispering. They talked about games, manga, basketball, and girls, including me. Pretty but poor. Someone like that is always a target for bullying in any school. But I was a girl. And they had even more vulgar ideas. They bet $20. And 10 years ago, I really did go with Zhou Ling'an to the small grove behind the school for $20. He gave the money, and I took off my clothes. Then click. Zhou Ling'an took a photo. The next day, the photo spread like wildfire through the class group chat. After that, they called me $20. After school, Zhou Ling'an was the first to walk out of the classroom. I picked up my school bag. Let's go, he said. I didn't say a word and followed behind him. We walked out of the school and headed toward the small woods behind it. Zhou Ling'an kept glancing back at me, as if afraid I might run away. I touched my empty stomach and said, Hey. Zhou Ling'an turned around. What's wrong? We're almost there. You're not thinking of leaving, are you? No, I said. But I'm hungry. Zhou Ling'an paused, then clicked his tongue. So what do you want? I want to eat. Zhou Ling'an looked impatient. He didn't want to waste time, but he couldn't bear to let go. After weighing it for a few seconds, he nodded. Fine. Let's eat first. I ordered a plate of fried rice. Zhou Ling'an paid. The fast food joint was shabby and greasy. Zhou Ling'an couldn't stomach it. He sat with his arms crossed, watching me wolf down the food. Ji Seong, have you not eaten in days? He said disdainfully. I completely ignored him. I no longer remember what hunger felt like at 18. But I remember Yang Meiyan's cruelty. That beautiful woman was like a virus. She moved into my house with her daughter and soon infected my father. From then on, I became the pitiful one. Yang Meiyan could precisely calculate the energy needed to stay alive and strictly controlled the money she gave me. Just enough for half a steamed bun. Enough to survive a day. But miserable. Hunger drained my energy to study. I couldn't get into college. So I wouldn't compete for the family's resources. The family would only support her daughter. I put down my chopsticks. Satisfied. Done eating. Zhou Ling'an stood up. Let's go. Suddenly, I grabbed his arm. Zhou Ling'an froze. His whole body felt like it was burning. His arms so hot it could scorch someone. Ah, teenage hormones. So hot. Even hotter was the look in Zhou Ling'an's eyes. Ji Seong, he said, looking down at me, his voice hoarse. Are you short on money? I smiled, asking the obvious. Of course I was short on money. That's why he came to me, wasn't it? Come to the woods with me, Zhou Ling'an said. I shook my head. Slowly, my hand crept upward, my body following close behind, until I was pressed against him. Face to face. How about a hotel? I whispered into his ear. In the dim, narrow alley, the word hotel glowed in the night. Zhou Ling'an swallowed hard. Once inside the room, Zhou Lingen's breathing grew heavier. He lunged at me, pinning me against the door. Holding himself back. Of course. At 18. With no experience. He was restless but dared not act rashly. I said, "Shower first. You or me." Zhou Lingen snapped back to reality, eyeing me with suspicion, probably wondering why I was so familiar with the routine. "You go first." Then, I said. Zhou Lingen shot me a contemptuous glance, tossed his backpack into my arms. "I'll be quick," I replied. "No rush." The bathroom door closed, and I opened Zhou Lingen's backpack, pulling out the camera. Then I picked up the hotel phone and dialed a number. The woman who had been sitting idle at the hair salon downstairs was free. The number was on the glass door. I never forget a thing. The call connected. I gave the room number, set the phone down, and fished out his wallet. A thick stack of bills. Zhou Lingen was a rich kid. His father owned the biggest supermarket in our county. His dad spoiled him rotten. The practical manifestation of that spoiling was money. Zhou Lingen had plenty of it, but I only took half. The other half was meant as payment for the woman. Soon, the doorbell rang. Zhou Lingen had finished showering too. He stepped out of the bathroom, startled. "Why are the lights off?" No one answered. The bedside lamp was dim, and on the bed lay a bulging lump under the covers. Zhou Lingen's breathing quickened, his voice trembling. He called out, "Ji Xiang." He walked over, bent down, his bathrobe tied at the waist, revealing the lean back of a young man. I licked my teeth with amusement. In the darkness, only his heavy breaths were audible. Then he pulled back the covers. Soft arms wrapped around his neck. Zhou Lingen tumbled onto the bed, two bodies entwined. Then I turned on the light. Click. I took the photo. Zhou Lingen's eyes widened. Utterly stunned, the woman from the hair salon cursed at me. "What the hell? This isn't what we agreed on." I gestured for her to wait, then waved the camera, smiling at Zhou Lingen. Zhou Lingen snapped out of it, furious. "Ji Xiang. One photo. $1,000. I tossed his wallet over. "I took the money myself. Left you some to pay this lady." Then I said to the woman, "You're cut. Ask him for it." After that, I grabbed my backpack and turned to leave without hesitation. Zhou Lingen jumped off the bed, trying to chase me. "Stop," he yelled. "Ji Xiang. Stop right there. How dare you screw me over? You haven't paid yet." Trying to run. "Let me go. Pay up first, or you're not going anywhere. Let them tear each other apart." I slammed the door shut. Serves him right. At 18. Life was hard for me, because I was too young. A young girl had no other means to survive. Her body was her only capital. That deal with Zhou Lingen bought me a week's worth of food. But it also cost me my name. My half-naked body was forever frozen in the boys' phones. Every day, notes appeared in my desk, maliciously asking my price. 20 not enough. How about 30? Can I just look? No touching. The girls kept their distance, deliberately covering their noses as they passed me, exchanging knowing glances. My life sank into an even deeper hell. No one hit me. No one cursed me, but I was flogged countless times in silence, so I wouldn't make the same mistake again. At 28, I could play the game with ease. Zhou Lingen deserved it. I hummed a tune, happily heading home. $1,000 could get me through the remaining half year, then the college entrance exam, and I'd leave this place far behind. Zhou Lingen arrived very late the next day. He looked completely crushed and dejected. I heard he had his parents called in. The woman at the barbershop told me Zhou Lingen refused to pay, and they made a huge scene. The hotel staff, worried about trouble, found his student ID and called the school. The school then called his dad. His dad paid for him. Really? Such a foolish teenager. Taking grievances so seriously. Why not just pay up obediently? I curled my lips. Zhou Lingen saw it and glared at me as if he wanted to eat me alive. I turned my face away and let out a scoff. Zhou Lingen's eyes flashed with menace. Some busybody went over to ask him, "Hey, Lingen, how did it go yesterday? Did you get what you wanted?" Zhou Lingyan finally found an outlet for his anger. Go fuck yourself. The guy was taken aback. Zhou Lingyan, what's wrong with you? Get lost. He kicked over the table in a fury, startling a chorus of gasps. I didn't look back, twirling my pen as if nothing had happened. Circling key review points on my newly bought study materials. This was just a minor lesson. I didn't want to be called $20 anymore. Though 10 years later, that nickname would hold no power over me. At 28, I was like an iron wall. And nothing from my teenage years could hurt me anymore. I had smoothed over the past. But not now. At 18, Ji Xiang cared. After school, Zhou Lingyan blocked my way again. This time, I didn't hold back. I lifted my eyelids and said, if you don't move, I'll call for help. Go ahead. Zhou Lingyan sneered. Ji Xiang, you dare mess with me. I'm not done with you. I tilted my head and asked with a smile. So what are you going to do? Go back to the hotel. Zhou Lingyan's face turned a spectacular shade. He opened his mouth, then closed it, cursing me crudely. Bitch. I pulled out my camera. Zhou Lingyan fumed. Give me back my camera. I asked. Who's the bitch? Zhou Lingyan was so angry he couldn't speak, his chest heaving and his face flushed red. I found it a bit ridiculous. He wasn't shameless enough to laugh it off. Otherwise, he should have treated that photo as a badge of his coming of age. Bullying the weak was no fun. I tossed the camera over. Here, take it. Zhou Lingyan caught it, fiddled with it for a moment, probably deleting the photo. When he was done, he looked up and asked me, did you make a backup? What do you think? That was my leverage. Of course I had a backup. Zhou Lingyan gritted his teeth. What do you want? I crooked my finger at him. Beneath my 18-year-old skin was my 28-year-old soul. Cold and sharp. I bared my fangs and spat out a single word at him. Get lost. I didn't want any involvement with him at all. I had too many troubles. My stepmother and stepsister, they were obstacles in my path. They had knocked me down once. I wouldn't allow a second time. And Zhou Lingyan, he was only a minor figure in my life. I no longer wolfed down my dinner. Yang Meiyun quickly noticed the change. In the past, dinner was my only full meal of the day, so I would practically choke myself trying to eat as much as possible. But lately, I've been having 3 meals, so dinner no longer feels so urgent. Yang Meiyun started to suspect me, but she had no proof. She even secretly searched my backpack, my pillow, my bed, but found nothing. The 1,000 yuan had long been stashed under Yang Li's bed. She would never find it. Don't get too happy too soon. Yang Lu said with a smile. You won't be able to hide it for long. My mom has ways to deal with you. She spoke with certainty. Ji Xiang, we know you've made money. I kept my head down, reading my book, pretending not to hear. Yang Lu sat on her bed, speaking as if offering advice. What's the point of studying so hard? Even if you get in, my mom won't let you go. I turned to look at her. Yang Lu said, don't waste your effort. Her face once again wore that faint, condescending mockery, as if laughing at the fact that no matter how hard I tried, she would always find a way to cut off my path and crush me effortlessly. I said, this is my home. Yang Lu was taken aback, probably not expecting me to talk to her like that, but she didn't get angry. Instead, she quickly broke into a faint smile. And then what? She said, Ji Xiang, sooner or later, I'll kick you out. I stared at her coldly. Want to give it a try? Yang Lu said, see whose home this really is. As if to prove her point, the door swung open from the outside. My father stood at the entrance. I brought you some late-night snacks, he said. Sesame dumplings. Lele, share them with Ji Xiang. Okay, Yang Lu said, walking over and taking them from his hands. She looked up and said, thanks, Dad. My father ruffled her hair, then turned to me. Still studying? Don't stay up too late. I said, got it. The door closed. Yang Lu took a bite of the sesame dumpling and asked, want some? Before I could answer, she laughed again. Oh, I forgot. You're allergic to sesame. She was brimming with smugness. I soon learned what Yang Li's plan was. On Monday morning, the homeroom teacher was holding the morning meeting. Yang Meiyun burst into the classroom and demanded to know why I had stolen money from home and what shameful things I had done with it. Ji Xiang, you can't do bad things. If you need anything, just tell Auntie, and I'll buy it for you. But you can't steal, Yang Meiyun said with great distress. Eyes from all directions focused on me. I kept a cold face. I didn't. I don't believe you. Yang Meiyun started rummaging through my desk, sweeping everything from the desk drawer onto the floor, scattering it everywhere. Fine. If you don't admit it, once I find it, I'll see what you have to say. I understood she thought I had hidden the money at school, but she found nothing. The homeroom teacher snapped out of it and grabbed her. Ji Xiang's mom. Let's talk about this in the office. Don't disrupt the students' class. Come on. Let's go to the office. Ji Xiang, you come too. In the office, Yang Meiyun was crying as if she were about to faint. Teacher Lu, I have no choice. If there were any other way, I wouldn't have come to the school. It's just that Ji Xiang is too disobedient. Teacher Lu asked. What exactly happened? 500 yuan is missing from my wallet, and only Ji Xiang has been in my room. Teacher Lu looked at me. Ji Xiang, I didn't take it. I'm not the only one in the house. Yang Meiyun shouted. Are you trying to say it was Yang Lu? Ji Xiang. Yang Lu is my daughter. I've watched her grow up and know her character. She wouldn't do something like this. I sneered. Are you sure? My smile angered Yang Meiyun. A vicious glint flashed in her eyes as she said. Ji Xiang, your mother died early, and your father is rarely home. I know you lack love and care, but no matter how desperate you are for money, you can't steal. Otherwise, how can you face your mother? My expression changed instantly. She shouldn't have brought up my mother. My mother was kind and good. She wasn't even worthy of being compared to my mother. I straightened up. If my mother knew I was being wronged like this, she'd crawl out of her grave to fight you. You bitch. The office fell silent for a moment. Teacher Lu looked at me in shock, never expecting that I, usually so well behaved, would utter such words. Yang Meiyun, on the other hand, exploded and lunged at me to hit me. Calm down. Ms. Yang, please calm down, Teacher Lu said, trying to soothe her, then turned to scold me. Ji Xiang, apologize. As if I would apologize. I said. Disgusting. The office was in chaos. I turned and walked out. Zhou Ling'an was leaning against the doorframe. As I passed him, I glanced at him but didn't stop. Ji Xiang. Zhou Ling'an called out to me. The money you used to buy study materials was mine, wasn't it? Why didn't you tell them? I turned around. Zhou Ling'an's eyes were full of pity. Ah, he was pitying me, but I didn't appreciate it. None of your damn business, I said. Zhou Ling'an's expression shifted between embarrassment, anger, and humiliation. When I got home that night, my bed was a complete mess. Yang Meiyun had soaked all my bedding. The damp quilts were piled up like a lump of mud. Yang Lu gloated. How dare you curse my mom? Ji Xiang, this is just a lesson for you. Your dad's away all week, let's see who you can tattle to. I ignored her completely. Even if my dad were home, I wouldn't tattle. He doesn't believe me. When I said I wasn't getting enough to eat, he asked Yang Meiyun, and she explained she was doing it for my own good. It's hard for teenage girls to lose weight once they gain it. Ji Xiang is so pretty, it'd be a shame if she got fat. Look at Yang Lei, don't let her eat too much either. My dad bought it. Then came my period. I couldn't afford pads, so I layered paper, and blood stained my pants. I washed them every day. Yang Meiyun asked in a puzzled tone. Does Ji Xiang have OCD? My dad wondered. What's going on? My hands soaked in soap bubbles as I looked at Yang Meiyun. She was so certain that I couldn't bring myself to tell a man about my body's needs, even if he was my father. So I had to become a girl with OCD. Picky, silent, and increasingly strange. I was torn apart piece by piece, and all I could do was endure. Save money, go hungry, and use it to buy the pads I needed more. My period seemed to spite me, arriving like clockwork every month. Despite my malnutrition, the flow was heavy. How ironic. The next day at school, Teacher Lu called me in. I thought he was going to scold me, but instead he just told me to focus on my studies. Zhou Lingyan told me everything the money was a loan from him. He patted my shoulder. Hang in there. Once the college entrance exam is over, things will get better. I nodded and went back to class. Zhou Lingyan's gaze followed me. I glanced at him, then looked away expressionlessly. His face instantly darkened. Zhou Lingyan, wanna hit the arcade after school? Get lost. Zhou Lingyan blocked me after school. I was listless. What do you want? I cleared things up for you. I know. You should thank me. I said. Mind your own business. I didn't need his kindness. Ji Xiang, can't you talk properly? Zhou Lingyan snapped. Embarrassed and angry. I didn't care. Fine. If you want me to talk nicely, buy me dinner. I wasn't about to let spite get in the way of my stomach. Zhou Lingyan asked. What about the money I gave you? I used it. For what? I sneered. Who are you to me? Unusually. Zhou Lingyan didn't get mad. He asked. Was that your stepmom? Yeah, and I've got a stepsister too. Zhou Lingyan paused, looked at me, then turned. Come on. I'll buy you dinner. I didn't hold back. Besides fried rice, I even ordered an extra bottle of cola. Zhou Lingyan said. Is that enough? You can get more if you want. I bit the straw and looked at Zhou Lingyan in front of me. For a moment, a wicked thought crossed my mind. Maybe I should set him up with Yang Lu. After all, Zhou Lingyan was good-looking and famous at school. Lots of people watched him play basketball, and Yang Lu was one of them. In my past life, I suffered so much, and Zhou Lingyan was the culprit. Those two should be a pair. But no, in this second chance at life, I didn't want to owe any sins. After my father returned, I once again had clean bedding. That evening, the whole family went out to eat. In the brightly lit restaurant, my father took out the gifts he had brought back from his business trip. There were 3 items in total. One for each of us. Yang Meiyun's was a necklace, while Yang Lu and I received bracelets. Yang Meiyun's face was radiant with joy. Thank you, honey. Yang Lu also said sweetly. Thank you, Dad. Only I remained indifferent. My father asked me, Ji Xiang, don't you like it? I said. No. Then why aren't you wearing it? I glanced at him. This man before me was so careless that he had never noticed that the gifts he bought for me always ended up on Yang Lu. He was like a blind man. I curled my lips maliciously. I like Yang Li's. Yang Lu was taken aback. Yang Meiyun reacted quickly and immediately said. Then Lele, swap with your sister. Yang Lu snapped back to reality and smiled. Sure. She took off her bracelet and helped me put it on, saying obediently, Sister, so you like this style? I raised my arm to admire it. The conflict dissipated silently. My father laughed out loud. His face filled with nothing but satisfaction. Countless times. For the sake of that smile, I had backed down countless times. But this time, I didn't want to. I took off the bracelet and threw it into the steaming hot fish soup. I find it dirty if someone else has worn it. The soup splashed all over Yang Lu. Yang Lu jumped up and cursed. Ji Xiang, you bitch. Yang Meiyun quickly covered his mouth. I laughed. Yes. Hold it in. A gentle and obedient good student shouldn't curse. A kind and generous stepmother shouldn't curse either. Only my father could curse. My father pulled a long face. Ji Xiang, what are you doing? Apologize to Lele. I said. No. My father got angry, stood up, and raised his hand. He wanted to hit me, but he hesitated. Yang Meiyun started crying at the right moment. It's my fault. I took your mother's place. It's normal for you to hate me. But what did Yang Lu do wrong? Yang Lu also cried. Sister, don't be angry. My father finally hardened his heart and swung his palm down. I told you to apologize. Slap. A loud slap. But it didn't land on my face. My father was stunned. Yang Lu screamed. Zhou Lingyan, what are you doing here? Zhou Lingyan covered his face. Standing in front of me, after a moment of surprise, I came to my senses and pushed him away. We're not family, so why eat at the same table? Hypocrite. I turned and left. Zhou Lingyan followed behind me. He was like a shadow. I asked, "Why are you following me?" Zhou Lingyan said, "No reason." "Then get lost." Zhou Lingyan's face turned pale and red, a look of humiliation on it. Yes, he was always praised by others and only suffered setbacks with me, which he couldn't stand. "Ji Xiang," he said, "can't you speak properly?" I could, but why should I speak properly to him? He had framed me before. I had fallen into the 18th level of hell. In this life, he had planned to do it again. "Do you think that by helping me clarify things with the teacher and taking a slap from me, I'll be grateful?" I said coldly. "Zhou Lingyan, don't try to negotiate with me." He was delusional to think that this belated kindness could earn my forgiveness. I wouldn't accept it. I walked ahead alone, and behind me came Zhou Lingyan's roar. "You did it on purpose." I turned around. Zhou Lingyan looked at me. "Ji Xiang, you deliberately provoked your father. What are you trying to do?" I had to admit, he was very clever. "That's my business," Zhou Lingyan said. "I just wanted to help you. I don't need it." Indeed, I didn't need it. My life belongs to me. And I will help myself. I moved into the school dormitory, because I refused to apologize to Yang Meiyun and Yang Lu. My father said I couldn't come back to my room unless I did. In that case, I smiled. "I'll move out." My father was stunned. "I'll move into the dorm." Yang Meiyun rushed out of her room. "Ji Xiang, don't be impulsive. The college entrance exam is coming up. If you go live at school now, you definitely won't rest well." Yes. The exam was near. She didn't dare let me move out. Moving out meant losing control, and she wanted to keep a tight grip on me. "Fine. I won't move out. But only one of us can stay in this house," I said. "Me or Yang Lu?" "Dad, you choose." My father was completely dumbfounded. Unable to believe it. "Ji Xiang, yeah. Why was I suddenly being so unreasonable?" I looked at Yang Meiyun. "Let me move out, or I'll get up in the middle of the night and strangle Yang Lu." Yang Meiyun's eyes filled with terror. The way I was acting, it was like I was possessed. But if becoming a madwoman was the only way to get out, I didn't mind being one. Finally, my father relented. "Fine. If you want to move out, then move out. I see you think you're independent now. Let me tell you, if you leave, I won't give you a single cent. Think it over." I glanced at him, letting out a faint laugh from my nose. The 18-year-old Ji Xiang would indeed have been threatened by him. But not me. I packed my bags that very night. I won't make the same mistake twice. Leaving home was definitely the wisest choice. Even though dorm life wasn't great, my room mates weren't in my class. They looked down on me, isolated me, and seemed to gossip about me openly and behind my back. I didn't know why, but I didn't care. In the last 2 months before the college entrance exam, my mind was only on studying. For the sake of final victory, my tolerance was astonishing. Until my water cup was thrown into the toilet again. I looked around and asked, "Who did this?" The 3 roommates in the dorm. No one admitted it. Not talking, I snorted, grabbed the 3 cups from the sink, and stuffed them all into the toilet. "If we're going to be dirty, we'll all be dirty together," Du Linlin screamed. "Ji Xiang, have you lost your mind? If it happens again, I'll return the favor." I put up with their petty tricks just to keep life quiet. Not because I was afraid. Du Linlin was all bluster, only good at making a scene. The other 2, Zhua Yin and Gu Xia, were quieter. Zhua Yin said, "It wasn't me." Gu Xia added, "Not me either. Only Du Linlin." She stiffened her neck, refusing to admit fault. "So what if I did it?" "Ji Xiang, we all know you're a thief, a liar. And you deliberately seduced Zhou Lingyan." I narrowed my eyes. "Who told you that?" "What does it matter who told me? We all know anyway." "Zhou Lingyan." I looked her up and down. Du Linlin studied dance. Coincidentally, so did Yang Lu. So, Yang Lu told you. Du Linlin froze. A flicker of panic on her face before she quickly steadied herself. Yeah. Lele told me. So what? Dare to say it's not true. Whether it was or wasn't. Why should I explain to her? I'd just go to Yang Lu. If she dared to slander me, I wouldn't let it slide. In this world, the person I hate the most is Yang Lu. I hate her casual malice and effortless cruelty. Once the door closes, in the room that belongs to just her and me, she unbridledly mocks me, belittles me, stabs me, and sneers at me. She pours all her venom onto me, but I won't take it anymore. The next day, I poured a bucket of red paint over Yang Li's head. Dear little sister, I said cheerfully, enjoy being soaked and humiliated. Silence. Nothing but silence. The class of 40 people seemed to have suddenly hit the pause button. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then came the screams. Yang Lu covered her face and shrieked wildly. Her classmates crowded around her. But no one dared to touch me. Bang! I threw the paint bucket to the ground and turned to walk away. For the first time, I felt genuinely happy. The happiest moment since my rebirth. Until I saw Zhou Lingen. That persistent, haunting Zhou Lingen. You shouldn't have done that. He said. What do you know? I sneered, playing the good guy. He had no idea what I went through in the dormitory. He had no idea what I went through at home either. I wasn't about to let things slide. Unsurprisingly, I was called to the office by Teacher Liu. He told me to write a formal apology, write a reflection paper. I said, aren't you going to call my parents? Teacher Liu said. I called your father. But your aunt answered. She said she understood. That there was a misunderstanding. And she didn't blame you. Ji Xiang. Teacher Liu said. I think maybe you have a bias against them. I hummed in response. Yang Meiyun was clever. Trying to coax me back. She wanted to use her magnanimity to rebuild her image in my heart. To lure me home. Once home, with the door closed, she could destroy me all over again. I wouldn't fall for it. I said. Since it's nothing. I'll be going now. I was busy. As long as Yang Lu didn't provoke me, I didn't want to see her at all. With the college entrance exam countdown ticking, I was more nervous than anyone. I knew Yang Meiyun hadn't given up. She was scheming to make sure I didn't get into university. She must have plenty of tricks up her sleeve. So I couldn't let my guard down. I had to stay vigilant. Not blink for a second. But Yang Lu was only 18 after all. She didn't have that deep a cunning. I had humiliated her. And now she wanted to destroy me. I could feel someone watching me. On the way back to the dorm after evening study hall. There was clearly a hostile gaze following me. I couldn't see who it was. But I knew it was there. Besides, Du Linlin kept poking her head out to see what I was doing. I figured she was spying on me for someone. I stopped walking back alone after evening study hall and started following the crowd to the dorm. Whether Zhou Lingen sensed it or not. One day he said, Ji Xiang. I'll walk you back. I didn't refuse. We walked to the dorm in silence. And Zhou Lingen asked me, which university do you want to go to? I said, anyone will do. As long as it was a university. It was fine. Zhou Lingen let out an O and asked, is there anywhere you want to go? Anywhere but here. I said. As long as I left this place. It didn't matter where I went. Zhou Lingen stopped in his tracks. Facing me. His mouth opening and closing. Opening and closing. Before he finally blurted out. Then. Would you like to? No. I said without hesitation. Zhou Lingen was speechless. You know the reason. I said. So don't bother asking me why. I didn't want to explain something he already knew. Zhou Lingen got angry and stopped walking me back to the dormitory. And as luck would have it, that evening was the weekend. The campus was empty on weekends. As soon as I stepped out of the teaching building, I felt something was off. So I pulled out my utility knife. Then, someone clamped their hand over my mouth and nose. The boy's hand was so big. I could barely breathe. Stay quiet. I was being dragged toward the woods nearby. The heavy, ragged breaths of a man came in waves. Soon, I was thrown to the ground. A strong body pressing down on me. You're Ji-seong. The boy pinched my face and laughed. Not bad looking. Yang-lu didn't lie to me. I whimpered. What do you want to say? The boy let go of his hand. I opened my mouth but no sound came out. What did you say? The boy leaned down. That was it. When that face got close enough, I stabbed the utility knife toward him. Go to hell. Shit. The boy reacted quickly. The knife only grazed his skin. But he was furious. Bitch. He slapped me. I was going to be gentle with you. But now I see you're just a damn slut. He started tearing at my clothes. I struggled violently, using my teeth, my legs, fighting and thrashing non-stop, until the boy let out a muffled groan. Zhou Ling'an tackled him from behind. How dare you mess with her? I clutched my neck. Coughing. Zhou Ling'an was no match for him. He was pinned to the ground. I grabbed a rock and slammed it hard into the guy's shoulder. Ah! He screamed in pain. Zhou Ling'an took the chance to shove him off and grabbed me. Let's go. I shook off his hand. Phone. Zhou Ling'an said. What? Take out your phone and call the police. What? Zhou Ling'an hesitated. If we call the police. I turned to look at him. Zhou Ling'an gritted his teeth and dialed the number. This night was destined to be anything but peaceful. At the police station. The boy confessed that someone had asked him to scare me. Yes, just scare me. But I insisted it was bullying. The injuries on my body were physical evidence. And Zhou Ling'an was a witness. Soon. The school and the parents were summoned one after another. And then there was the instigator. Yang-lu. She looked pitiful. It wasn't me. I didn't tell anyone to bully Ji-seong. She's my sister. How could I let anyone bully her? The boy refused to back down. Yang-lu. It was clearly you. Yang-lu lowered her head. I know you like me. Maybe you wanted to stand up for me, but I never asked you to. The boy was speechless. Yang Meiyun spoke up. Yang-lu and Ji-seong are sisters. The two girls had a quarrel before, and Lele might have complained to her classmates. Boys at this age are impulsive. So maybe they just. The boy cursed. You're lying. But clearly, he was no match for the young mother and daughter, especially with my father there. My father said, Officer. There must be a misunderstanding. Yang-lu isn't that kind of child. She's very well behaved. I let out a faint snicker. Zhou Ling'an sat beside me. It's okay. I turned to look at him, and his eyes were filled with pity, but I wasn't about to cry, since we were all minors. The matter was eventually settled through mediation. My father, on my behalf, forgave the perpetrator. Ji-seong. I'm doing this for your own good. Making a big deal out of this won't do you any favors. A girl's reputation is very important. Yes. A girl's reputation is very important. But I didn't know whether he cared about my reputation or Yang Li's. Dad. I smiled. Between me and Yang Lu. Pick one. My father was stunned. From the day I started boarding school until now. Have you ever come to see me? Have you ever asked if I needed money? Have you ever paid my boarding fees? Do you even know that I never had enough to eat every day? My father was shocked. What are you talking about? See, you don't know anything. I spread my hands. So you made your choice a long time ago. At 28, I made peace with myself. I told myself that I lacked nothing now and should forgive my own father. So I returned to my hometown. I went back home. I thought that after 10 years of being missing, he would miss me. He would think of me even just a little. Enough to make him look haggard. But in reality, he didn't. He and Yang Meiyun walked side by side from the market, arms linked, chatting and laughing like the most loving couple. I passed them face to face. My father didn't recognize me. Ha ha ha. He didn't recognize me. How ridiculous. So, I had long stopped expecting him to do anything for me. In June. There was 1 week left until the college entrance exam. I moved out of the dormitory and found a nearby hotel without telling anyone. But Zhou Ling'an showed up as if he could sniff me out. Why are you staying in a hotel? Are you really that curious about my life? I teased. Zhou Ling'an paused, looking away. No, I just think you're pitiful. Since you think I'm pitiful, Lend me another 1,000 yuan. Zhou Ling'an. He grudgingly pulled out his wallet and took out a stack of bills. Here. I gripped it tightly. We're even now. I thought. The 20 yuan from my past life had made my 18th year even harder. 10 years. 100 times the interest. Zhou Ling'an and I were square. And I no longer hated him. I didn't even hate my father anymore. As I walked out of the exam hall, the scorching sun with lingering heat shone on him and Yang Meiyun. Yang Meiyun was holding Yang Lu, patiently asking questions. He looked at me. I stood right in front of him. He opened his mouth, then finally said, "Come home." I asked, "Where is my home?" He pressed his lips together, showing a hint of displeasure, as if annoyed by my persistent rebellion and lack of understanding. But I just smiled. I turned and walked away. He wouldn't understand that from this moment on, I had gained the future I wanted, but I would inevitably, like in my past life, lose everything from before. I found a summer job as a clerk at a fast food restaurant. Zhou Ling'an always came to eat. He asked me how I did on the exam and where I wanted to go to college. I ignored him. On the day the exam results came out, Yang Lu came to show off in front of me. "I'm going abroad to travel," Yang Lu said with a smile. "My academic scores are good enough. And I'll go to Beijing to study dance." "Ji Xiang, how did you do?" I said. "Guess." Yang Li's face darkened but quickly recovered. "It doesn't matter if you did well. Can you earn enough tuition working 2 months? Don't expect your dad to give you any. You know what? He said he's waiting for you to come back and apologize. Or else he won't give you a single cent." I said. "Oh, is that so? What a shame. What are you so smug about?" Yang Lu stood up. "I'm waiting for you to come back and beg me and my mom. That will never happen. Never. I filled in my preferred schools and chose the city I liked. I really didn't have money. But I had plenty of ways to scrape together the first year's tuition. The 18-year-old Ji Xiang might have been helpless. But I wasn't. Yang Lu would never see that day. Even my father's apology would never come. Because I was leaving soon. On the day I received my admission letter, I immediately canceled my rental lease and bought a train ticket. While packing, Zhou Ling'an came upon hearing the news. "You're leaving?" I nodded. "Why?" he asked urgently. "Why so sudden?" "It's not sudden. I need to go early to gather tuition, living expenses, and maybe find a job." Zhou Ling'an didn't understand. "You're really not going back home?" Did he think I was playing house? "Zhou Ling'an," I said, "thank you for everything. But I hope we won't see each other again." Zhou Ling'an looked incredulous. He shouted behind me. "Why, Ji Xiang, do you have any conscience? I've helped you so much. And you don't feel even a bit grateful." I turned to look at him. Zhou Ling'an must have felt wronged, since he hadn't hurt me. "But, Zhou Ling'an, even without you, I would survive." Zhou Ling'an. 10 years ago, on the eve of the college entrance exam, Yang Meiyun deliberately locked me in the restroom. I called out for a long time, but no one answered. Later, I broke the bathroom window and climbed out from the 3rd floor. The glass cut my fingers, and when I answered the exam questions, blood and ink stains remained on the paper. Unsurprisingly, I failed the exam, and I never had a chance to retake it. That night, my father and Yang Meiyun discussed how to arrange my future in the living room. My father said I was too young, and Yang Meiyun said learning hairdressing was a promising path. Yang Lu was eating watermelon in her room. She said, "When you finish learning hairdressing, I'll come to your shop." I turned to look at her. Watermelon juice stained her lips, making her look like a demon. She wanted to devour me, bit by bit, consume me, but I refused to accept it. The grievances I had accumulated over the years exploded in that moment. I rushed over, slapped her, pinned her neck, and choked her tightly. Yang Lu screamed. I was dragged off her by my hair, and Yang Meiyun held her to comfort her. My father roared, "Ji Xiang, have you lost your mind?" Yes, I had lost it. If I stayed any longer, I would truly go mad. So I had no choice but to escape. With my ID card and a few hundred yuan, I boarded a southbound train. I started as a dishwasher. In the cramped corridors of the urban village, there were always malicious gazes. I locked the door and propped it with a wardrobe, with a kitchen knife hidden under my pillow. I never dared to sleep deeply or get sick, as if on purpose. The old man next door always turned the TV volume to maximum at night. The sounds of a woman's pleasure and a man's heavy breathing rose and fell. I lay awake, listening over and over again. The cockroaches in the south were terrifyingly large, crawling all over the dirty, stained bathroom. I swore I wouldn't rot away like them. Finally, I saved enough money and enrolled in an accounting class. Since childhood, I had a sharp intuition for numbers. I loved math. No ambiguous words. Only cold numbers. Right and wrong had only one outcome. I immersed myself in the world built by numbers, greedily absorbing every formula. I was as desperate as if I were suffocating. I didn't dare to stop. Then I passed the exam, left the urban village, and found a legitimate job. The company was small and had many irregularities, but I was still grateful. I was thankful they gave me a chance. Even though I earned the lowest salary, I didn't care. I had no diploma. I needed experience. I cherished every opportunity. I was still hungry, but I no longer felt it was bitter. I studied, took exams, worked. I buried my head every day, never daring to stop. Finally, in the second year, I became a financial manager. In the third year, I switched to a larger company. In the fourth year, I earned my first 100,000 yuan. In the fifth year, I changed jobs again and got an opportunity to study abroad, with my salary increasing from 100,000 to 300,000. The fifth year, the sixth year, the seventh year. In the 10th year, I finally bought a house, a car, and all kinds of jewelry, clothes, and designer bags. One afternoon, I ordered a piece of cake for myself and sat leisurely. The sweet, rich cake stimulated my taste buds. I ate a lot but quickly vomited it all out in the bathroom. Yet I was overjoyed. I laughed as I vomited. And finally, I wiped my mouth clean and walked home. So, how could I ever need someone else's salvation? Countless times I have saved myself from the depths of despair. After the university semester started, I found a tutoring job. The little girl was very well behaved and did well in her studies. On her birthday, she invited me to join the celebration. I gave her a gift. The room was filled with girls around 17 or 18, chatting and laughing, sharing their dreams and envisioning a bright future. I took a bite of the cake and watched quietly. It felt wonderful. The cake was sweet, and my stomach didn't act up. It could handle it. University was great too. The youth and future I had lost were being picked up one by one. Even though I had already achieved worldly success, I still regretted everything that 18-year-old Ji Xiang had lost. On the way back to school, Zhou Ling'an called me. I answered. Across the entire Pacific Ocean, it must have been noon there, and I could hear the noise in the background of the call. Ji Xiang. Zhou Ling'an's voice came through. Happy birthday, I said. International calls are expensive. This is a bit wasteful. Zhou Ling'an gritted his teeth. You fucking, I laughed out loud. I never saw Zhou Ling'an again in my past life, but I hated him for a lifetime, cursing him to die a miserable death. Though I knew my curse held no power, was surely living happily somewhere in the world. I still hated him. But at this moment, I was willing to take back that hatred. You know what, Zhou Ling'an, I said. The future me is a dazzling business elite. Zhou Ling'an scoffed, bragging. But then his voice softened. You will be, Ji Xiang. You'll succeed. I hummed in agreement. I will succeed. In the past, present, and future. I will succeed. I never went back home. Even when I succeeded again, I didn't return. My father called me, but I always had the same answer. I'm busy. I need to make money. I need to live. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and yelled at me. Is money all you see? Yes, I said over the phone. All I see is money. Just like you're only calling me to ask for money. My father was speechless. Click. I hung up. My father thought I didn't know. But I knew everything. I knew that Yang Lu had injured her spine while practicing dance and couldn't stand anymore. Yang Lu in her wheelchair was the biggest complainer in the world. She hurt everyone indiscriminately. My father and Yang Mei-yun had countless fights. But I felt no sympathy. That was the wife and daughter he chose. He had to bear it himself. Each of us has to pay for our own life. So, best wishes.